Call the meeting to order. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and this city in which we live. Guide us this evening as we make our decisions. In Christ's name, amen. This is the November 25th regular meeting of the Newnan City Council. Welcome to everyone. You have the minutes of the regular meeting of November the 11th, 2025 before you. I'll entertain a motion on those minutes.
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. We approve as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. You also have the minutes of the work session on November the 11th, 2025. I'll entertain a motion on those minutes. Is there motion is second? We adopt as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Ms. Jenkins, will you introduce our Newnan Youth Council attendees this evening?
Certainly, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. We have members of the Newnan Youth Council with us tonight. They come to our meeting so that they can learn about what we're doing here in the city and hopefully translate that back to their group when they meet. So we have with us tonight 5 members of the council. And when I call your name, please stand and stay standing until I have called everyone. We have Rhea Patel, Senior, Newnan High. We have Arav Kadam, Jr., Woodward. We have Annie Glenn Winstead, Jr., Newnan High. Sadie Keith, Jr., Newnan High. And Kimmy Banks, sophomore, East Coweta. Thank you all very much for joining. Did I miss anyone? Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you all for being here, and more importantly, thank you for participating in the Newnan Youth Council. We appreciate it very much. Thank you. Now, Mr. Sears is in attendance tonight on the telephone. So, Mr. Sears, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay. If everybody will just take a minute and make sure that they are speaking into their microphones so Mr. Sears can hear us this evening, that'd be great. On to boards and commissions. The first one we have is Mr. Kritko, appointment to the Bicentennial Committee.
Please.
Second.
Motion is second. They nominate me to the Bicentennial Committee, and I'd like the minutes to reflect that I'm not going to vote on this. I'll call the question. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kritko. Ms. Jenkins is the next agenda. Mr. Kritko, do you have convention authority?
I do. No, I'm sorry, not that one. No, sir.
Okay. Is that the next agenda?
Next agenda,
Okay.
please.
All right. So Ms. Jenkins is the next agenda. Development Authority, Mr. Kritko?
I'd like to renominate Mr. Jim Markle.
All right. Motion is second. We renominate Jim Markle to the Development Authority. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. The next Ethics Commission, Ms. Jenkins, is the next item, next agenda, and also Ethics Commission, Ms. Jenkins, the next agenda. And then Mr. Kritko.
I'd like to nominate, yes, sir, Mr. Randy Stewart.
All right. Second. Motion is second. We nominate Randy Stewart. Is
Yes,
that
sir.
correct? To the Ethics Commission. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Okay. Ms. Phillips, you have anything this evening? Okay. I don't have anything this evening. Under new business, the first item is a consideration of contract award on Wood Lane Drive roadway improvements. Mr. Clark, how are you, sir?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As you recall, the council had asked us to go to our engineering consulting firm and contract for a set of construction plans for certain improvements to Wood Lane Drive, namely the construction of curb and gutter, pavement resurfacing, and storm drainage system improvements. We put that out to bid, and Piedmont Paving Incorporated is the lowest bid that is responsive. And I'd like to recommend Piedmont Paving for the construction at $295,300.70.
All right. Any questions, Mr. Clark? Is there a motion?
I make a motion.
Motion is second. We approve at Mr. Clark's request. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Clark. The next is the consideration of the resolution for the 2026 City Council meeting schedule. Is there a motion? Motion is second. We approve the resolution as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. The next is consideration of adoption of agreement of a general amendment from Georgia Municipal Association to the City of Newnan's defined benefit retirement plan. If the council will recall, we've probably done this 6 or 7 times through the years. These changes that we make keep us in commonplace alignment with other cities across the state of Georgia. So I would entertain a motion from you at this time.
So moved. Second.
A motion, a second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Pose like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. The next item is a consideration of an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Newnan, Coweta County, and Newnan Utilities related to the provision of water and sanitary sewer services to a new county fire station on Belk Road. This has been discussed for years, it seems like. And we have finally gotten to an approval on all parties.
Second.
Motion is second. We approve as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. The next is a consideration of an agreement between the City of Newnan, Coweta County, and NCTI LLC regarding annexation procedures and transportation improvements. Mr. Phillips, you may want to give a little explanation on this one.
Yeah, I think it's critical to give an explanation of understanding of what's in front of the council and the body tonight. You may recall that Ever Hour 2 made an annexation application. There was an objection filed by the Coweta County Board of Commissioners. There was also a DRI requirement for the project, so the county commissioners and the city council executed a stay and in attempts to negotiate a settlement. Well, the Coweta County Board of Commissioners and the developer have agreed to terms, and what is in front of you tonight is the acceptance of those terms. But it's really critical to understand what this does is it only stops the arbitration panel from taking place, which obviously saves us money from not having to conduct the hearing. It does not commit this body to annexing it. You still must hear the annexation and make the decision. What the agreement does say that if this body were to decide to continue with annexation, then these are the minimal agreement conditions that must be placed into the annexation ordinance. This body would have the ability to actually impose higher conditions that are imposed. But this particular agreement was approved by the Board of Commissioners last Tuesday, has been executed by the developer. It is recommended, and Mr. Sears is online, he can speak to it if we need to approve it so that we can stop the arbitration panel process from taking place. That is really what this document does. Thank you.
Any questions from council regarding the issue before us? Is there a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion and a second that we adopt the agreement between the City of Newnan and Coweta County and NCTI LLC regarding the annexation procedures and transportation improvements. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Under unfinished business, the first is a consideration of amendment to the zoning ordinance of adding chalk level district to the historic residential design overlay, amending a section of Article 5. We have been at this for several years too. Ms. Jenkins, got a motion regarding? Are there any questions?
If not, I would like to make a motion.
Mr. Smith, do you have a?
Well, one of the reasons we laid out some different options for you all to consider was because the state made a discernment or a change of their original outline of what they consider to be the chalk level. So we've laid out for you 3 options. The first option was presented to the Planning Commission. That's the first thing the state said we want to include as chalk level. Then October 24th, after the Planning Commission meeting, they came back with a revised outline, which is presented to you as option number 2. And so the third option is what staff kind of created, is combining these 2 together, because the second option by the state eliminated 17 acres that were part of the first presentation. The option number 3 incorporates those additional 17 acres back into the historic residential design overlay district for the purpose of ensuring that any new residential construction meets the character of the neighborhood and is consistent with the character of the neighborhood. So there's 3 map options for you to consider, and I just want to give you a little bit of explanation as to why we have those options in front of you.
Any questions from council regarding the map options? The staff's recommending option 3, if I'm.
Yes,
heard you
sir.
correctly.
That's our recommendation.
Okay.
And that is the largest.
Yes.
That covers the most area.
It does. It includes your residence
The
as
other
well.
17 acres.
Right.
Right.
And that will be my motion, is to approve that version.
Option 3. Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve.
Mr. Mayor, this is an amendment to the zoning ordinance. You need to open the public hearing.
Okay, I'll be happy to do that. I'll open a public hearing at this time for the consideration of amendment to the zoning ordinance for adding chalk level district to the historic residential design overlay, amending a section of Article 5. This is your opportunity to come forward to speak to this issue. Anyone in favor? Anyone in opposition? I'm going to close the public hearing at this time and ask for a motion on the issue.
I have a question.
So your motion did
Yeah, I know.
not stand?
I know.
Okay. I have a
If I might ask a question. Looking at this area, the overlay, and it imposes, as I'm understanding, and please clarify, and I'm doing this also for the record, is it imposes certain building standards, restrictions, if you will, correct?
What it does is for any new residential construction, from the ground up, it requires the developer builder to come before the planning commission to be certain that what is being built is in character of what is the existing fabric of the neighborhood, that it looks like similar houses, similar size, similar massing, that it's not something that's going to be out of context with what is existing now is the purpose of the HRDO. It doesn't necessarily set a heightened standards. There aren't any material restrictions. We don't require you to use hardy plank. We don't require you to use brick. But the planning commission ultimately would bless the design of it, and in their mind, will, along with staff's recommendation, to consider what would be appropriate for that particular location.
So if somebody decided to bulldoze and rebuild, they would fall under the new requirement?
Correct. You know, and I think one of the things that recently was, we had someone come in and put a 2-story duplex up in an area where there was no 2-story residential structures nearby. It obviously was not in character with the existing fabric of the neighborhood.
And this is also something we have for our other historic neighborhoods. They already fall within this, and since Chalk Level is the newest to become part of a National Register Historic District, this is keeping in line with what we've already been doing in the historic neighborhoods of
That's
City of
correct.
Newnan.
I just want to make sure it doesn't create an undue burden for the residents there. If they want to redo their house or even, like I said, tear it down and rebuild, and because, you know, the cost, as we know, of building is skyrocketing, it's
Well,
expensive.
one of the advantages is there are some tax credits available for people in the district, if they're homeowners, to help with different remodeling or new construction projects for homeowners.
Okay. I'm just really concerned that it's not creating an undue burden for
Right, it
anybody.
doesn't keep somebody from wanting to remodel their home, to add an addition onto their home. It doesn't in any way restrict that.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
I'll make that motion for the option 3.
Got a motion and a second. Okay, I'll call the question unless there's any other discussion. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. We're on to the next item, item N. This is a public hearing. This is a rezoning request, RZ 2025-07 by Stephen L. Jones, attorney at law, on behalf of Bright Sky Residential LLC for 20.73 acres located at 459 Jefferson Street, tax parcel N57C 003, from general commercial district to residential multifamily dwelling higher density district for the purpose of developing 140 townhouse-style attached condominium dwelling units This is the public hearing on this. How are you, sir?
Hey, good
See
evening,
you.
Mayor. I'm doing well, thank you.
Good.
And good evening, council members. Before you is a request by Stephen L. Jones, attorney at law, on behalf of Bright Sky Residential for 20.73 acres located at 459 Jefferson Street. The applicant is requesting a rezoning from CGN, which is general commercial, to RMH, which is the multifamily dwelling zoning, higher density, for the purpose of developing what is now 132 townhouse-style attached condo dwelling units. The initial request that's shown in your packets was for 140 units. To address concerns voiced at the council work session, the applicant submitted an updated concept plan and details earlier today. And Megan, if you don't mind, go to slide 7. I'm just going to use Mr. Jones' concept plan that he submitted today for you guys to look at. And again, this is the revised plan. And just to go over some of the highlights, and I'll let Mr. Jones get into more of the details. The plans increase the front setback from 40 feet from center line to 80 feet from center line. This also reduces the unit count from, as I mentioned earlier, 140 to 132. The new design increases off-street, non-driveway parking spaces from 55 to 90 head-in spaces. And finally, the applicant has also increased the landscaping on the perimeter of the property and confirmed that there is an existing buffer on adjacent commercial of approximately 50 to 90 feet. These changes affect many of the details I was going to go over. However, the applicant will go over the changes and any updated details during his presentation. So what I will do is I will just focus on the standards and how this application meets the standards that we review or not. First, is the proposed use suitable in view of the zoning and development of adjacent and nearby property? The proposed use would primarily be surrounded by commercial uses with zoning designations of CCS, which is Community Shopping Center, and CGN, General Commercial, along Bullsboro Drive. Across Bullsboro Drive from the subject property, the properties are primarily zoned CGN. However, there is an RMH zone property containing the Ashley Apartments, roughly 1,060 feet east of this subject property along Bullsboro Drive. The proposed residential use would be in keeping with several nearby multifamily developments. These include the nearby aforementioned the Ashley Apartments, Jefferson Grove Apartments at 414 Jefferson Street, Preston Mill Apartments at 140 Jefferson Parkway, Covey Homes, Newnan Village at 10 American Avenue, and Jefferson Point Apartments at 66 Jefferson Parkway. So we feel the proposed use is suitable. Next, will the proposed use adversely affect the existing use or usability of adjacent or nearby property? The proposed residential condo units would be a less intense use than many of the potential uses that could be developed on the subject property, particularly in the CGN zoning class, including outdoor retail. Staff received no indication from the departmental reviews that the proposed use will adversely affect the existing use or usability of adjacent or nearby property. So we feel this will not adversely affect the existing use or usability of adjacent or nearby property. Next, are there substantial reasons why the property cannot or should not be used as currently zoned? There are no substantial reasons as to why the subject property cannot or should not be used as currently zoned. While vacant units in the adjacent or nearby shopping centers on Bullsboro Drive can be observed from time to time, the city has not seen a marked decrease in interest regarding commercial development along Bullsboro Drive, even in areas close to the subject property. For example, the city, I'm sure many of you have seen, recently permitted a new Christian Brothers Automotive in the adjacent shopping center, Shenandoah Plaza Shopping Center. There is also a planned Waffle House to be located in the same shopping center. And so we feel the property could be used as zone. Will the proposed use cause an excessive or burdensome use of public facilities, services, including but not limited to streets, schools, water, sewer, police, fire? As with all development, the project will impact service provision. In this case, the service providers have indicated that they are able to address the needs of the development. Regarding traffic, the city's Director of Engineering, Michael Clark, has indicated that a residential zoning for this site would typically generate lower traffic volumes than a commercial development meeting current zoning. Overall, the project will have an impact, including the fire department stating the proposal may require additional equipment and manpower in the future, but the impact would not be excessive or burdensome in view of all the responding departments. Next, is the proposed use compatible with the purpose and intent of the comprehensive plan? The future land use map in the comprehensive plan shows the property under consideration as future redevelopment opportunity areas. In 2021, the steering committee for the comp plan update viewed the area of land along the northern side of Bullsboro Drive from, say, Greason Trail to Jefferson Street as primary locations for not only redevelopment, but also development of vacant tracts. The reason for this is that this stretch of Bullsboro Drive contains aging commercial developments with a few larger sized vacant tracts around them. Staff believes this proposal does help to invest in this area and provides needed housing. It should also be mentioned in our comp plan, we do identify a lack of available land for development purposes as a need and opportunity. Next, is the proposed use consistent with the purpose and intent of the zoning district, of the proposed zoning district, I should say? The proposed use of the subject property is consistent with the purpose and intent of the proposed zoning district. The proposal is approximately located in an area in transition between denser residential neighborhoods and to the north and commercial development to the east, west, south. So yes, it does meet that. Is the proposed use supported by new or changing conditions not anticipated by the comp plan? There are no new or changing conditions that would impact the comp plan's intent in relation to the proposed development. As shown in the goals and policies in the comp plan, as well as the needs and opportunities, the need for more housing options is evident, and this proposal helps to accommodate the need. And finally, does the proposal reflect a reasonable balance between the promotion of public health, safety, morality, or general welfare and the right to unrestricted use of property? The area located in close proximity to the subject property is primarily zoned for residential and commercial uses or is in unincorporated Coweta County, which is actually just across Jefferson Street from the subject property. This area also has seen the development of nearby multifamily properties, including all those I mentioned earlier. This proposal would continue a trend of developing multifamily zone properties along this stretch of Jefferson Street. The applicant will also have to provide any required mitigation, which is a key point, involving traffic infrastructure improvements. So we feel it's a reasonable balance. Overall, we found they met 7 of 8 standards, 7 out of the 8. And regarding proper conditions from the applicant, and one note from us, this version in your packet corresponds to the original concept plan. However, only the last 2 proper conditions changed. And I'll just read those really quick. Here are the proper conditions. The first 3 did not change from the original. The development, including but not limited to number of dwelling units, street layout, orientation, 4-foot driveway separation, setbacks, including but not limited to from the right-of-way and center line of Jefferson Street, buffers, dwelling width, minimum 20 feet, and dwelling types and materials shall reasonably comply with the concept plans submitted with the application, as determined by the planning and zoning director and subject to reasonable modifications required to fully engineer the development. Next, the mixture of dwelling types constructed within the development shall be consistent with the rendering submitted with the application as determined by the planning and zoning director. Third, the development shall include an amenity area with a clubhouse, pool, and pickleball or tennis court, as well as a dog park as shown in the concept plan submitted with the application as determined by the planning and zoning director. And here are the new 2, the final 2. That certain land plan Bullsboro prepared by the engineering company, Ridge Planning for Bright Sky Residential dated August 25th, 2025, last revised November 20th, 2025, and attached to the application as letter L. And finally, that certain conceptual design package, Bright Sky Newnan project, prepared by Optum Design Group LLC, dated November 25, and attached to the application as attachment M. Planning Commission recommendation on October 14th was to deny the rezoning request. Staff also believes that council, and we would ask, should the council elect to recommend approval of the request, or to approve the request, I should say, staff would recommend the following conditions to be considered. 1, the project be consistent with the plan, density, project data, amenities, proffer conditions, and architectural details as provided as part of the application. 2, the project shall be consistent with a maximum of 132 units, and here again, that's the new number. It went from 140 to 132, being a townhouse-style attached condo dwelling project in accordance with the requirements of the city zoning ordinance. And also, the residential attached home shall be a minimum of 1,500 heated square feet. And finally, approval of the concept plan through the rezoning process does not relieve the applicant from meeting the requirements set forth in the city's tree preservation and landscape ordinance. To make this application happen, the applicant necessarily had to get or has to get, in this case, some variance requests from the council as well. One staff note about this: the following list shows the variance request that stem from the application details that city council can grant if they choose. Otherwise, the applicant will have to seek relief from the Board of Zoning Appeals. 1, a 4-foot driveway instead of an 8-foot driveway separation as listed in the townhouse design requirements of the zoning ordinance. Number 2, a 20-foot proposed minimum building line width instead of the required 26-foot minimum building line width for townhouse designs as listed in zoning ordinance table 4A. And finally, the third variance request, and I know there's conversation about this at the work session, went away. According to the site plan that was submitted today, the need for a front setback variance was done away with. As shown in your packets, there was formerly a variance need for a front setback, but the applicant is now proposing an 80-foot setback from the center line of Jefferson, doing away with the need. So they're just needing 2 variance requests to make the project happen. And finally, as far as Mr. Furbush's landscape architect comments, he included the following comments, and he said, the revised tree management plan provides all the required information. And one staff note about this, Mr. Furbush did provide additional comments, but has yet to see the revised concept plan that was provided to us today that reduced the number of units and increased the landscaping on the perimeter of the property. There's definitely more breathing room created on the site with the way the proposal has changed. So he would be looking at this again, of course, before development during permitting. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Cole, I have a question, I guess, further explanation of the variance request.
Yeah.
That on the driveway separation
Yep.
from 8 feet to 4 feet. Make sure we understand what that is. You're talking about the distance between a house residential driveway is going to move down from 8 feet?
The
down to
distance of
4
the
feet.
driveway, the closest point between 2 driveways, from 8 to 4.
Okay.
We require 8 because these fall under the townhouse designs.
Right.
Which require 8 feet. They're asking for 4.
Okay, and what is the width of those driveways? Do you know?
No, the width. I know the length is 19.
Oh, the maximum is
24
would be the max.
24 on the driveway?
on the driveway width.
Well, let's go back then to the 20-foot variance request
Yes,
versus
sir.
the 26.
Yep.
Give us some more detail on that.
So this is the actual building line width. So here again, because it's a townhouse design, we require 26 feet, and they're proposing 20. More of a slender building front line. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just want to make sure everybody understands what
Yep.
we're doing there, shrinking those lot sizes. Okay. All right. Any other questions, Mr. Cole?
Can I touch on that question? You asked about the maximum driveway width. What's the minimum driveway width? Are you having some variation in your driveway widths? So everything's gonna be 24 feet?
We'll let Dean answer this real quick.
There isn't a minimum required driveway width currently, and it's just a maximum.
No, but what are they proposing?
sorry.
I'm sorry, yeah.
16.
16.
Yes, sir. 16 wide.
Really narrow.
So we are down to 2
Your
needed
garage,
variances.
for instance, is 20 feet to
Right,
24 feet.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions, Mr. Cole? All right, this is the opportunity for the applicant to come forward and speak. Under our rules, you have a 15-minute time frame in which to speak.
Thank you,
You'll
Mayor.
Identify yourself for the record, please.
Council. My name's Stephen Jones, here today on behalf of Bright Sky Residential. Coming today by Mr. Hamilton Stolpen with Bright Sky Residential and Mr. Mike Kaponsky with Ridge Planning, the engineer of record. If we could, Ms. Shea, go to the start of this PowerPoint. Staff did a good job of an overview. Kind of stole my thunder on the plan changes, but I'll get to those in a second. This is a 23.73 acre parcel. It fronts on Bullsboro and Jefferson. Next slide, please. As you'll see, and we discussed this at the workshop, there are substantial water features and limiting environmental factors that prevent us, or environmental features that prevent us from accessing by any feasible method Bullsboro, which naturally puts any viable access off Jefferson. Next slide, please. When we look at Jefferson, then there are a number of residential and residential rental properties on Jefferson Street, and we can discuss those as we go through, but I do want to kind of look at the initial concept plan and the revisions that were made from that plan to this plan, many of which were designed to address the comments that we heard from council during the workshop. So this was the initial plan. If you'll remember, we had units paralleling Jefferson and fronting with these internal sidewalks, so every unit fronted and had a courtyard, a front courtyard, or a rear courtyard, which then accessed common sidewalks throughout the development. Next slide, please. We've now pulled that back to comply with the setback requirement along Jefferson. There's a quirk in the zoning ordinance that talks about major and minor streets, and this is a major collector, so therefore it's got the same setbacks as a major arterial. So when we comply with that, it brings those units interior to the site. We've still got everything as a rear-loaded product, so those are rear entry with the front door facing outward. So on these front dwellings here, you would have the front yard or the front door facing Jefferson. On the properties internal to the site, next slide, Ms. Shea, you'll see that we still have, next slide. You'll see that we still have these internal common areas, which I've still got some videos and renderings of, which every home fronts on at least a central walkway or a kind of a central greenway. With these revisions, we have reduced from 140 units to 132. That brings the 3 attached product buildings from 114 units to 126, and then the paired homes from 26 down to 6. Next slide, please. So you'll see we do, again, the front setback, we've increased from 40 to 80. That provides a nice green strip along Jefferson. Councilwoman Jenkins, I believe that was your comment, and we've effectuated that in this plan. Next slide, please. We've also increased the parking. So in the original layout, we had 55 head-in spaces, which would be gas or additional parking, in addition to the 2 spots in the garage and the 2 spots in every driveway. We now have 90 spots. Next slide, please. And then additionally, Councilman Carrico, to your point, I think you referenced the buffer along the property. On site, we've got a 15-foot buffer per code. And then when you look at the adjacent commercial, there is an existing green buffer on that property of 50 to 90 feet. Along the side there, it's 50, or along the west side, it's about 50 feet. Along the north side, it's 90. So collectively, that's between a 75 to 105-foot buffer, which is greatly in excess of what the code requires. The code just contemplates a 15-foot buffer, which we've complied with here. Next slide, please. So I want to come back to the homes. We, again, reviewed these during the workshop. You have a 3-unit attached product and then a 2-unit attached product. As I mentioned, with this revised concept, we've reduced the 2-unit attached down from 26 units to 6 units. You'll see those are in the yellow, sparsed throughout the property, with the remainder of the units being the 3 attached. Again, these are rear entry products, so what you're looking at here on the front facade, those are the elevations that are facing those internal sidewalks and those internal greenways. Next slide, please. Going to the internal greenways, here is an example of what that looks like. That's that middle pocket park to the left of the amenity area. You can see those internal courtyards, the internal front yard, the common green space, and those green ways that connect every home in the development with the amenity areas. Next slide, please. Speaking of the amenity areas, you'll see we have a common central amenity area here that's resort-style pool, clubhouse, racket court. To the right, or the east on Jefferson, you'll see we have the dog park. And then on the west side of the project, we have multiple pocket parks, which was one of the renderings that we looked at on the previous slide. Next slide, please. This is the central amenity area. This is a rendering of that. Again, resort-style pool, typical bright style clubhouse. Next slide, please. This is what the inside of a bright sky style clubhouse looks like. Next slide, please. It's a rendering of the dog park. Again, we have head-in spaces at the dog park and as well at the amenity area. Next slide, please. And then I want to focus on these internal green spaces. Again, adding that additional 40 feet of setback, we've programmed another green space along Jefferson, as well as those internal green spaces you'll see circled in blue on your concept plan. Next slide, please. This should be a still, maybe this is a video. There we go. Thank you so much. We didn't pick music, if you don't mind. This is the amenity area. Again, you'll see the front of the homes here as facing the amenity. So we call those the social units, right? They're looking right at the amenity area, able to access it rather conveniently. Here you've got the homes facing that central courtyard. Again, large pocket park with, again, front entry homes on those green space areas. And here you can see just an example of these rear entry homes. So naturally you've got the two cars possible in the driveway, 2 cars in the garage themselves. And then here's an example of another internal courtyard with those fronts of the homes facing that internal courtyard. Again, you'll see another one of these pocket parks with the homes facing on the internal park. Next slide, please. Coming to the elevations of the home, Bright Sky has all the homes highly appointed, so they're high-end finishes throughout. This is all hardy. These are elevations. I believe this is something that we addressed at the workshop. These are homes where Bright Sky had designed for Newnan based on product that it saw for sale or recently sold in the single-family for sale market. So tried to mirror and match the architecture that it saw in the Newnan market. So just to reiterate, you'll see the front at the top left, and you'll see the rear at the bottom. The rear entry style. This is the 3 attached product. Next slide, please.
Mr. Jones, may I interrupt you? That appears to be a double garage. How do you do that on a 20-foot lot?
They are 20-foot wide units is these, and then the double attached to the 22.
He's asking how can you fit 2 cars on 20 feet?
Yeah, so I pulled
That
up.
math doesn't work.
Well, a traditional 2-car garage door is 16 feet.
If you'll come
Correct.
forward
I'm
and
sorry.
speak and
I apologize.
identify yourself, please.
Hamilton Stolpen, president of Bright Sky Residential.
Thank you.
Traditional 2-car garage is 20 feet wide and 22 feet deep. You have a 16-foot garage door for a 2-car garage with 2 feet on each side as a buffer. That gives you your 20 feet. So our rear load units are 20 feet. You have 16, which is the driveway and the garage door, 2 on each side, and then if you're in the middle, you have 2 from the other, 1 on each side, so you have 4-foot buffer in between. You can see right here, that's a standard 2-car garage, 16 wide by 7 feet tall.
Okay, thank you.
16 wide, Correct.
16, okay.
Yeah, it matches the garage width.
And our ordinance requires a minimum what size driveway? Okay. I thought we had a
It's
minimum.
not the width,
the
it's the
length.
length.
Yeah, the length is 19. But the width is not.
Yeah.
But it's awfully tight. I think that's really the point, is it's awfully tight.
That's my point, yeah. Go, and I'm gonna add you 2 minutes onto your 15, so I'm not stealing time from you.
No worries. So yeah, 16, and you'll see here, this is the 20-foot wide product. Obviously, again, as Mr. Hamilton said, with the 16-foot wide garage door. Again, it's all Hardier cementous, fiberboard around, quartz countertops, soft close cabinets, Moen fixtures, stainless steel appliances, as well as high-end flooring. Next slide, please. This is the double attached product, or the paired home, as you may call it, with also rear entry. This product is 22 feet wide, also with the 16-foot garage door. You'll see these also have a side entry door as well. Next slide, please. These also have the same finishes. You can see the floor plan here. Next slide, please. And I do want to just give you an idea of the quality from some interior pictures of other Bright Sky residential products that they've built in other states. That this would be Bright Sky's first project in Georgia, which they're very excited about. Next slide, please. Moving to the bathroom, again, you can see those highly appointed fixtures. Next slide, please. Interior bedrooms, built-out closets. Again, even the closets are highly appointed. Next slide. And then views of great rooms in various existing units. Next slide, please. And so it foreshadowed this at the beginning of the presentation. These yellow parcels, or parcels that are outlined in yellow, are all existing rental units or rental properties, rental developments that are on Jefferson. And so we think if you look at the land use that has developed at the land use pattern on Jefferson, this is a natural fit consistent with the apartments, both apartment complexes to the right, as well as the townhome developments on the left. Collectively, those represent over 600 units. When combined with this 130, we think it's a nice evolution. It also provides a product that's not represented in this market, which, or in this mix of units here. So, Ms. Shea, if you could flip back all the way to the first slide. I didn't put the concept plan at the end of this, but I should have. Mayor, Council, if you have any questions or comments, be happy to address those at this time. Otherwise, as always, thank you for your time and attention to this request.
Thank you, we appreciate it. Anyone, questions, comments? Anyone? All right, thank you, Ms. Jones, we appreciate it. This is the opportunity for anyone in opposition to come forward and speak to the issue of this rezoning request. If you'll come forward and state your name for the record, please. Thank you for being here tonight.
Good evening and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You
First,
too.
I want to thank y'all over the years for all the good decisions and the things that you've done for our community. We, as a family, have enjoyed the link. I don't know why I'm crying. It's been a long week. The skate park, the pickleball courts, Ashley Park. There has been wonderful projects that we, as a community, have enjoyed. I love the Disney show that we just saw, but I want to talk about why this is not a good fit for us. Bless Jefferson Street's heart. That is the blue-collar zone, and everybody knows it. It's not the prettiest, it's not the greatest, but the working man lives there. And he is correct. There is a lot of rental properties that have come into fruition over the last few years. One of the problems that's going to be with them is it's not going to be affordable. With the parking spaces that I can see, there's probably going to be multiple families living there. So the problem already is that there's a discussion about the roundabout for traffic. There's only one way in, there's one way out. There's no way to get to Bullsboro. Traffic is going to be backed up through the yin-yang because there's approximately, even with the cut down on their spaces, of 520 cars. It's also going to add to Jefferson Parkway, that is a Title II school for all the kids. It's rental property. People move in and out. It's going to be a burden on our school systems. We're going to have more buses because we're going to have more kids. The other problem is it's going to put a greater risk on our hospital that is overtaxed now. The average wait at Piedmont Hospital is 8 hours. So we're going to have approximately 140 houses with 4 people in them going to the emergency room. Is going to add to that. The other thing I see is the crime. Let's be honest. Over the last 4 years, Jefferson Parkway and the Covey homes, we've had multiple gun shootings. We've had multiple car break-ins. We have had actually people that have been killed. That space is commercial. I think it needs to stay commercial, and it's commercial for a reason. It could be so much more profitable, and that's what we need as a city, is we need revenue. We don't need more apartments. We need something like LaGrange and Fayetteville has, that we can have an amphitheater. We can draw in people for concerts. We can make money. I mean, as Newnan, we don't really have a big draw right now, except that, come stay with us. We're near the airport. A Top Golf, a Bass Pro Shop. Heck, Buc-ee's down here would be great. We could have a ball team like Savannah. We could, instead of being, we could be the Newnan Nuts. We need to have something that is beneficial, that will make us money. Rental property is not it. That is a great location. There is great potential, but it needs to stay commercial. And the little folks over on Jefferson, I mean, here's the thing. You get 500 cars coming out, going to school, somebody's going to get ticked, and the police officers will know that. I mean, there's already wrecks on Bullsboro from road rage. That's not going to help. This is not going to help our community. It's not going to help the people here. And if we really needed to do something, we need affordable housing. I mean, kids are coming out of school, they can't find a place to live. I mean, this just needs to stay commercial. And I ask that y'all say no. We don't need anything else. What we need is fun. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and happy Thanksgiving to you. Is anyone else in opposition? This should be your opportunity to come forward. If you'll state your name for the record, please.
Hello. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. My name is Zachary Potter. I am here in proxy to James Shepard. He wished he was here today, but for personal matters, he could not make it. I'm mostly here to echo what she stated. We believe these townhouses are unaffordable for the younger generation, as well as parents whose kids have left the nest and they'd like to downgrade for their retirement. So we would like to request that these townhouses are not approved and that more affordable housing could be approved instead, or even a general commercial district. Thank you.
Thank you for being here tonight.
Of course.
Anyone else in opposition? We do have at our dais a letter. Each of us have it, each of the council members has it, from Mrs. Erin Nicholas from Atlanticville, and it is in opposition to the, states several reasons for opposition to the particular project. So if you have not had an opportunity to look at that, it's at your desk. Anyone else have any other comment regarding? If you'll come forward, sir, state your name for the record, please.
I'm Derek Dalton. I live right off of Jefferson Street in Lynn Circle. I'd like to use their slide of all the apartment complexes that surround this community that he's proposing. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going.
You talking about the slide with the yellow outlines?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
okay,
so all
yeah.
these are, well, I can't go because you want to hear me.
No.
If you
you're right.
notice, on the furthest one to the right, there are multiple ways to get out of that community. You can use Jefferson Street, you can use the little postal parkway right there to get out. The one in the middle, that is the only way to Jefferson Street. You go to the next one, there's multiple ways to get in and out of that. And so that's the biggest problem is the traffic. They're talking about 300 or 400 cars. I want y'all, before y'all approve this, to go down there tomorrow morning, well, Monday, because tomorrow's probably a holiday, and I want you to sit around these intersections during rush hour. When you go down Jefferson Street toward Bullsboro, there's a sharp curve right there near the Publix. That backs up. So you either have to go Postal Parkway or that street there, which is out of the way, or you go back up toward where the storage place is, or you can use Sprayberry Road. Those are all heavily traveled right now. All this is fine and dandy because they don't live here. They don't have to put up with this crap. They're going to build it, collect the money, and leave. They're not from here. It's the people that live here that are going to suffer the consequences of this, and it's all about the traffic. I don't care what they do with the land so much, but the traffic is the issue, and you can't get through there. And Chief Blankenship and them, they're already having to patrol on Jefferson Street because of the speeders right there at Anthony Drive. Well, guess what's going to happen? I hope you got a lot of ticket books because that's going to be so well traveled. Or it's probably going to be backed up where you ain't even got to go over there because nobody can move. And that's the problem with it. All that grand dog and pony show is great, but they don't ever come down here and sit in this traffic or look around at what's going on. And that's the problem we have. There's plenty of other places that have the infrastructure for them to build something like this, that have 4-lane highways, have traffic lights. Jefferson Street's not that. And that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you being here this evening. Anyone else? Okay, in opposition, still have a few minutes. Anyone? Okay, seeing no one come forward, council have any questions of staff or developer regard to this?
I have a quick question. Is
Addressed to whom?
I think the applicant. She brought up a question about the buses and stuff like that. I'm looking at the stuff. Is there enough room for turnarounds and that kind of stuff for the buses in there?
Certainly, Councilman. And Ms. Shea, I hate to ask you again, can we go all the way back again? So, great point. And I think this is a misconception. We have 2 entrances on Jefferson. And we've got hammerheads at the bottom to ensure that there are adequate turns around for not only for buses, but emergency safety. Also, if for school buses, we would expect that there would be an internal stop to this, that they wouldn't traverse the whole site, just like any other multifamily complex. I do also want to point out that this parcel is not ripe for commercial development. Yes, it's zoned commercial, but as we saw at the beginning, there, and as Mr. Hoponsky mentioned during the work session, there are environmental features which prevent viable access to Bullsboro. And there are, to my knowledge, no commercial developments, at least along this portion of Jefferson. So that really lends this parcel to a residential use. There's no other real viable asset class or use class that would work here. That also points to traffic. You've heard some people say, well, this parcel should stay commercial, but we're also worried about the traffic. Well, any traffic report will tell you, or any traffic engineer will tell you, that commercial generates substantially more traffic than residential. And so from a traffic perspective, residential is going to have a less impact on the congestion or congestion in this area. So, that's why we think that this parcel is ripe for a residential development such as this, and it provides a good mix in terms of the rental options that are available in that surrounding area.
If you're finished, like a large fire apparatus trying to get down that one little, some of those areas, it's not going to be able. It's going to be backing up. Again, I'm just trying to look at it from this type of map. It's a very narrow lane. Again, if something over by the amenity there, one of those social apartments needed to be serviced, it looks like it's causing a good bit of havoc.
So absolutely.
What's the plan?
So Mr. Aponte can address this, but he's going to have to design this to meet International Fire Code, which is designed, it's International Fire Code. Any civil plan is obligated and required by Georgia law to comply with that, which ensures that fire apparatuses have adequate access to access all those dwellings. There's also going to be additional provisions about fire hydrant placement to ensure hose length as well as apparatus access to all those dwellings. So if he can't design it, I think Hamilton might be a little upset, but it does and will have to comply with the International Fire Code.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing no one come forward with another comment, and there are no more comments from the council, I'm going to close the public hearing. Well, sir, you'll need to come up.
I think residential over there be.
I'm sorry.
I'm Derek Dalton.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Residential over there would be great, but why not 20 houses on half acre? That's the problem. It's not that it's residential, it's that it's 132 units
Right.
on 20 acres, and they're saying they can only use 14 because of the variances. You wouldn't buy a house on that kind of land. I mean, it needs to be smart use of residential. High occupancy isn't. And that's what we're complaining about, is not that it's residential, it's the traffic and how much residential it is, because they're putting this on 14 acres and it's 132. Do the math. That don't add up either. That's
Thank you.
all I got
Thank you for
for
your
now.
thank you for comment. Okay, anyone else? I'm going to close the public hearing at this time and ask for an acceptance of the report from the Planning Commission.
Motion to accept the report.
Motion second to accept the report from the Planning Commission. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. And then we come to the point where we have an ordinance to amend the zoning map for the subject property. Any discussion before we have a motion regarding?
I think this Jefferson Street's a pretty street. It winds around. It's got a lot of green space on it. You can actually see the green space on some of these slides you have. And it backs up to single-family homes. There is commercial development that's growing along Jefferson. And I honestly, when I look at this from the top down, I can totally see this remaining commercial and it being part of a mixed-use type part of this area. There is a ways to do this access. I know I'm not going to argue this because I'm not an engineer, but I see ways to keep this commercial. I feel like just because there's rental next door doesn't mean we have to have a rental again. I get the concept, but I don't buy that. Newnan is, in like so many places, they have pods of things. We don't have just this is a rental area and then nowhere else. Okay, this is just, so everything's mixed in, blended in, and we have single-family homes really close to these rental properties. You can see it on one of your earlier slides. So I don't accept that this only use for this is this super high-density, packed-in crazy development, okay? I think it can be commercial, and if we give away all of our commercial right now to residential like this, we won't have any commercial left. And so I feel like it's properly zoned, and the staff backed that up. They said it can be used as currently zoned. I support the Planning Commission and what they voted. They voted to deny, so I support that. We've had some people standing up. I support their thinking. I think this is not the product that I'm hearing from the community that they want to see more of. And that's my opinion.
Thank you.
Where I was going. I'm looking at this as somebody who did go to architecture school, and I'm like, you can do some access things here to get the commercial that you're looking for. I mean, we do this all the time, where when we do plan development, they leave access to the side for going between the two. So I don't see why right now that this can't be used as commercial as it is zoned. I think there's some opportunities there that just haven't been explored.
Anyone else? Hearing no one else, is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we deny the request.
Second.
Motion is second. We deny the request. Any discussion, comments before I call the question? All those in favor of denying request indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is also a public hearing. I am going to recuse myself because my company is involved in the transaction, and I will ask Mayor Pro Tem Thomason to take over, if you don't mind.
Happy to do it,
Thank you
Mr.
very
Mayor.
much. Everyone have a great Thanksgiving.
Mr. Dean Smith, we are here for, we're going to open this to a public hearing. Actually, you're going to give our narrative first. You got it. So this is we're going to open a public hearing in a minute for RZ 2025-01, which is a request to rezone 29.96 acres at 3000 McIntosh Parkway from CGN to MXD.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. This is a summary I prepared. The full context of our report and assessments available in the agenda and also on the website. But for the purpose of this evening's presentation, we'll try to be brief and give you a summary of the request. You have 29.26 acres located at 3000 McIntosh Parkway. The project map before you illustrates the approximate location of the subject site, going from a general commercial with what we call a quality development corridor overlay to a mixed-use development. The proposal is 329 apartments. It sits at about 17.5 units an acre on 18.8 acres. 70 townhomes, which equates to about 6.5 units an acre on 10.8 acres. The applicant does state they will max at 8 units an acre. 26,760 square feet of commercial, office, and restaurant space. Amenities proposed include a clubhouse, pool, fitness, plaza, fire pit, grilling, dog park, link trail connection. The townhomes are about 1,700 square feet, priced from around $400,000, 12 front entry townhome products and 58 rear entry units. Apartments break down as follow: approximately 164 one-bedroom with rental rates between $1,625 to $1,800, 147 two-bedroom units between $1,990 a month to $2,250, and 18 three-bedroom units at $2,500 a month and up. They are private gated streets proposed for a townhome area. The background and the process of this: back in 2007 through 2008, this original land was part of litigation and settlement. It was rezoned with a concept plan allowing up to 500 apartments plus required commercial. The apartments have been built. The commercial areas remain vacant. Earlier this year in February, this timeline was introduced. February was introduced as information. In May, they went through the development of regional impact, or the DRI, with the recommendations incorporated into your packet. In July, the Planning Commission had a public hearing. They recommended denial of the rezoning 6-0. In August, you had a work session. At that point, it was a topic of discussion about mid-block or midway pedestrian crossing between the townhome development to the south and the apartments and commercial proposed development to the north. August 26 was a scheduled public hearing. At that time, the applicant requested that it be continued to this evening to give them an opportunity to study further the pedestrian crossing request. The applicant and the city engineer did come back and conclude that the 45-mile-per-hour speed limit currently on McIntosh Parkway makes a pedestrian crossing midway infeasible. The alternate suggestion is to use a sidewalk along the southern portion where the townhome development was proposed to extend east and north to the existing intersection of McIntosh Parkway and Ashley Park Boulevard, where there's already a four-way stop with painted crosswalks. The key analysis on this include traffic and access. There's approximately 3,070 daily trips. The DRI review indicates that the existing roads can support the projected traffic. Police, fire, and schools all indicate there will be an additional request on their services as outlined in the information you have before you. Economic impact, the applicant says, will be increase of $2.3 million in fair market value. Residential impact fees on the residential side are a little over $400,000, and to be determined what the commercial impact fees will be. At this time, we don't know what those uses will be. In terms of rezoning standards, we find the application meets 6 out of 8 standards. The standards that have been met are: it is suitable with surrounding development, does not create more adverse effects than permitted uses, is compatible with comprehensive plan in the terms of creating housing options that are mixed housing options, consistent with the MXD district intent, supported by emerging conditions and reasonable balance of public welfare and property rights. The standards we find it does not meet is that the property can be used as is currently zoned as a CGN category, and that the project will have significant impact on public services and schools. The MXD specific assessment is that it does have the strength of a mixed use. It is residential and commercial. The central plaza and amenities on the apartment side, pedestrian-oriented design, appropriate building heights. The architectural character is consistent with some of the existing architecture around the area. Signage is generally consistent with some exceptions. Concerns are a gated private street for 70 townhomes. Ordinance normally limits private streets to just 25 units. Higher apartment density than traditional multifamily zoning, though comparable MXD densities have recently been approved. Some of the existing signage proposed does exceed the height and size limits of the current sign ordinance, but the MXD, if approved, would overrule that as part of a condition. As mentioned, the Planning Commission did have a public hearing on July 8th. They recommended denial 6-0. The additional conditions to consider in this request include full adherence to the concept plan, density, architectural, and amenity commitments, to cap the apartments at 329, to cap the number of townhomes to 70, and the tree plan must comply with the city's tree conservation and landscape ordinance. The requested MXD rezoning would permit a large mixed-use project of 329 apartments, 70 townhomes, and commercial space. This site has a complex rezoning history tied to the 2008 settlement agreement. The project aligns with many comprehensive plan goals, including mixed use, housing variety, and amenities, and meets most rezoning standards, but does raise some concerns regarding service capacity, school impacts, density, and compliance with landscape requirements. And that's staff's report.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Smith? Okay. All right, see no questions. At this time, I'll open up a public hearing. We'd like to hear from the applicant, Ms. Griffiths. Please state your name.
Certainly. Melissa Griffiths, Horn and Griffiths, 32 South Court Square, Newnan, Georgia, 30263. I've got here with me tonight Mr. Paul Alston and Daniel Falk with Oxford Properties, Mr. Warren Jolly, who is with the Providence Group. He is the developer of the townhomes. Jared McKinnon with Kimley Horn is our civil engineer. John Walker with Kimley Horn is our traffic engineer, and Jason Brady's the buyer's agent. Staff has been working on this project for a very long time. We did go through the DRI process, as Mr. Smith said, and we appreciate all of their assistance. I think that this plan has morphed into what it is based on comments we have received from them, comments from Planning Commission, comments from our work session. We did submit a full rezoning application that had all of our proffered conditions. It had a summary report with renderings, elevations, our standard constitutional letter. We are fine with the conditions as presented by Mr. Smith this evening. I would like to point out that this property has been vacant and unused as zone commercial for over 18 years. Mr. Furbish's landscape comment in the condition, we plan on meeting all landscape requirements of the city of Newnan. We will not be asking for any kind of variances there. As you all know, until you get on the land and start digging, sometimes it's kind of hard to see what all you need to do or what you can do. So we've submitted the initial landscape plans per the requirements, but we will be following the ordinance. We see the site as a live, work, and play at this location. You can get on the link trail and head straight to Ashley Park without getting in your car. There are pedestrian crosswalks. There will be less traffic with the residential use than is currently zoned for commercial. That was also stated in the DRI that we went through with Greta. After the work sessions, there were much discussion about the pedestrian crossing. We did send a letter with a memo regarding that. The issue for the RRFB, which is that rectangular rapid flashing beacon that was discussed at the work session, is the speed limit has to be 35 miles per hour or less, and it is 45 miles per hour on McIntosh Parkway. So the applicant has proffered that if the city council did decide to change that speed limit to 35 miles per hour, that they are willing to contribute $50,000 towards the improvements that were discussed. It's my understanding that that $50,000 will cover what we had discussed about it. And if you remember, we talked about having a sidewalk that kind of went across. The best way I can describe it without using engineering terms is as you start to walk over, you're then going to turn sideways to then see the oncoming traffic. So each way you're going, so it doesn't go straight across. It makes a 90-degree angle and then cuts back. We believe that the staff likes our project, that we have met all the requirements from staff and council from our numerous meetings. I'd like to allow Mr. Austin to go through the project, and I would, Mr. Thomason, like to reserve some time for rebuttal if necessary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
Mr. Austin, please state your name.
Yes, sir. Paul Austin with Oxford Properties. Good evening, members of the Newnan City Council. I would like to thank you for this opportunity to present our proposal for our mixed-use development. As I mentioned, I'm Paul Austin, development partner with Oxford Properties, and I'm joined this evening by our project team that Melissa outlined, in addition to Ellen Garland here with Silver Studio Architects. Before I move into the site plan, just a brief overview of Oxford. We're a multifamily development and construction company that is dedicated to leveraging our real estate expertise to create unique Class A communities across the Southeast. Since our inception in 2002, we've developed nearly 20,000 units across that very footprint. I'd also like to make an important distinction that we are the general contractor as well as the developer and owner, which gives us a unique advantage in regard to quality control, building efficiency, curb appeal, higher standards, and amongst others. As we move into the master site plan, you'll see that it's comprised of approximately 30 acres with 329 apartment units, 70 townhome units that are for sale, as well as approximately 27,000 square feet of retail. Next slide, please. As we look here at the mixed-use parcel, it is comprised of 3 buildings. We have our L-shaped building there fronting McIntosh that has ground floor retail and commercial space, as well as residential units. As we move to the core of this parcel, we have a 2-story building that is solely dedicated to commercial and retail space that fronts a very gracious lawn and plaza for year-round entertainment. As we move to our 3rd building, you'll see that it parallels Wilwatt Way. We have a retail end cap and commercial space along with residential units in that building. And I'd also like to point out we have a designated link trail access and connection point that we think will serve this portion of the development very well and be a great addition to the community. Next slide, please. As we look here at this rendering, I think this does a really nice job at depicting our vision for the development, as well as really the ethos, which is to create a unique sense of community and sense of place, not only for our residents, but as well as for the commercial tenants and then the city of Newnan, as well as surrounding communities. In addition, I'll point out we've enhanced sidewalk widths here substantially just to allow for obviously enhanced safety, as well as circulation ease, and then it also allows us to have an improved landscape palette as well on this mixed-use parcel. As you move to the center of this rendering, you can see that 2-story building I mentioned, which we think is perfect for a restaurant or something that will really activate this parcel. It fronts that gracious lawn and plaza space, has a very nice 2nd-story balcony, as well as a covered patio for the ground floor user. And then as we move to that 3rd building, where you can see that retail end cap that has 1 story of residential units above. Next slide, please. As we move across Wilwatt Way, you'll see our residential parcel. It's comprised of 4 buildings. We have our U-shaped building there that has our leasing office and additional amenity space. As you move directly behind that, you will see a courtyard that is approximately the size of a football field, which is, a very unique amenity offering, I think unlike anything that currently exists in the Newnan market today. We pride ourselves on our quality of amenities and think that this would be very well received here. In addition, we have a dog park that's adjacent to that L-shaped building as just another amenity that will serve this community. Next slide, please. Here you will see on the second rendering our leasing office as well as additional amenity space on either side. We have 1 story of residential units above that, as well as being flanked by 3 stories of residential units on either side. You'll see or notice a lot of similar architectural elements to the mixed-use parcel, as well as building materials and color palette. We found that over the years in our mixed-use development, it's critical to have consistency and a comprehensive design as we do here. And we think that this should set the development up to be very successful. Next slide, please. Here in our third rendering, we have a residential building. This one in particular will front McIntosh Parkway. It has a great relation to the streetscape, not only from a scale perspective, but we've drawn in some of those similar architectural elements. We've certainly gone above and beyond industry standard on the quality of this building and construction. We have enlarged windows for great natural light in the units. We've got balconies and patios for all the units, as well as a privacy element that's certainly not the standard these days. And all in all, we feel that we've done a nice job of bringing these 2 parcels together, as well as with the townhomes across the street, to create a very unique and comprehensive mixed-use development. We certainly have great expertise in this space, but we really do not take this opportunity lightly. It's one we've spent a lot of time on over the years, working with you all and our design team internally, and it's one we really want to see come to fruition. It would be an honor and privilege to do so. With that, I'd like to now transition to Warren Jolly, founder and president of Providence Group, to speak on the townhome portion of our development. Thank you very much.
Mr. Council, members of the commission, I'm Warren Jolly, president of the Providence Group, 11340 Lakefield Drive, Johns Creek, Georgia. If you don't mind, go to the next slide. Just give you a little history about the Providence Group. We build about 700 houses a year. Our average price is about $700,000. We're a lifestyle type builder, and this kind of will walk through the site plan things that we do. For instance, we limit by the HOA very few rentals, so normally 5 or 10%, so it's not a rental community, it's for sale. There is a hardship if somebody needed to rent. But like all the HOA, all the landscaping is maintained by the yards are maintained by the HOA. All the exteriors are maintained by the HOA, so you pay fees. Some townhomes aren't like that. They're where the individual cuts the grass, and sometimes you can see they're not maintained at a high level of detail. There's 70 townhomes. You can notice the ones that face McIntosh, the exteriors face out, so they're rear entry. And then the others in the community, there's 58 that are rear entry. There's 12 at the bottom by the bottom side that are front entry, but all the others are rear entry. So they're facing out or facing the mews. You can see this common courtyard as you come down the entranceway. You'll see all that is be grassed and landscaped. We like to do gated communities because it does, to me, offer a little different lifestyle. We sell a lot of units to single women, and it's nice to know that it can be lock up and leave type of atmosphere there. Go to the next slide, please. There's the front, so you can see they're 2-story townhomes. They live like houses, so the main living area is on the bottom level, and then you have the bedrooms upstairs. These are the ones that would be facing out, so you can see a mixture of brick and siding and front porch type design, more traditional architecture. Next slide, please. There's another view. This is what the ones along McIntosh would look like. Go to the next one. This is the ones that are along the detention pond. Obviously you have to have a detention pond, but they back up to the back. They're the only front load units that are in the project. There are 2 buildings of 6 that are there. Again, the price points of these would be in the $400,000 price point. The average square footage is about 1,750 square feet. Most of them, there's 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms plans. If there's any other questions, they'll be more than happy to answer. And we'll leave the rest of the time for rebuttal. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, any questions?
So I think I understood you to say that in order for the flashing light to be installed, we'd have to reduce from 45 to 35 miles per hour, correct? If that's not done, then they basically run at their own risk across the street or go up to the corner and at the 4-way stop, and then they come back. Here's my comment and my concern with that. With any type of development coming in, if we start lowering and have to adjust speed limits, et cetera, to accommodate such a development, that seems like we'd be doing that multiple times. That's what would be my perspective. Also, it seems like, to the gentleman who just spoke the last, did I hear you correctly that you sell a lot of these units to single women?
That's what he said, yes, sir.
Yeah, at $400,000 a clip, right? I was just curious.
Yeah, I mean, we have different price points. Yeah, we sell families, we sell single women. The gates are, that's why, the gates are attractive to that. Thank you.
Yeah, well, that's good. With relationship to that side of it, it seems like it's more of, how do I say this, kind of an afterthought. If we were really concerned, or you're concerned about the safety of the pedestrians going across the street, you would eliminate that piece of it by making the amenities on that side as well, because really you're enticing people to go across the street. Well, quite frankly, you're discouraging them, in my opinion, and it would be my opinion, from participating in what's across the street from access. So my question is, why didn't you, with that particular price point, consider doing some minimal amenities on that side?
We do have amenities on our side. There's a dog park area and some park area. The other amenities are on the other across the street.
In the apartment side, correct?
Correct. And normally, the problem with amenities are you need to have enough residents to support it. That's the beauty of having the apartments over there, because if they're just on our side, you don't normally have enough homes to support the cost, and their HOA fees are more, and then it's even harder to qualify for a home. That's the beauty of having the across the street shared with apartments, and we've done that several times, and it works out very well because they can coordinate each other. But we do have open spaces, we do have a park, we do have nice yards that are included, and sometimes we actually have rear yards on the 2-story front loads and front yards on the rear loads.
So you have other projects that you've done where they have to cross a 4-lane road?
We do a lot of projects that you have to cross 4 lanes to get to retail. Not the amenities weren't there, but the retail was there, shopping center, restaurants were there. And I think John Walker can speak to the traffic, because there's another right down the road, an intersection.
Right. Yeah,
which
I'm
is not
familiar with
far
that.
away. It's not like, several blocks down the road. It's like a couple hundred feet down the road,
It's down this way,
It's just
it's
not
down
right
this way, and
across the
back this
street.
way.
Yeah. But it's still walkable in means of where you walk to for people. It's not too far to not be walkable.
Yeah. Thank you.
Ms. Shea, do you mind going to our first slide, please? Has the master plan on it, it shows. Thank you. So, Mr. Gillian, if you'll see on the southern portion, which are the for-sale townhomes, in that middle section where you see squares, that is an amenity area right there. The dog park is to the left of the first row on the left, but there are amenities on both sides. There are just more amenities on the northern side based on the number.
And I appreciate that. I guess when I think of amenities, I'm thinking that which is on the
Yes,
side
sir.
where the apartments are.
And for
The dog park and grass, to me, is not amenity.
For the pedestrian crossing, the reason I brought that out is because at the work session, we specifically talked about the flashing light as an example. And so I just wanted to make sure everyone understood why we weren't offering to do that was because the traffic engineers told us that we could not do that.
Right.
And if you'd like Mr. Walker to speak on that, he is here tonight. And
No, fine, I understand what
Okay.
you said, I just wanted for clarity, that's it.
And the, Mr. Clark is the one who had recommended that the sidewalks be maintained to go to the end and then cross over. So that was Mr. Clark's recommendation, and we're fine doing that as well. I believe those sidewalks are already in place, but if any maintenance needs to be made on them, of course, we'd be willing to do that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
The folks that live in the southern side, let's keep it simple, I guess, in the for sale side, would be able to access the amenities on the apartment side, but people on the apartment side would not be able to access the amenities on the south side because it's gated.
Well, there's a way to walk around the gate.
But as part of the whole agreement, between the homeowners association down south and the rental property up north, it would always be accessible to them.
Yeah, there's pedestrian, it's vehicle blocked for pedestrian and access and walking around. Anybody can walk through there. It's not, it's just the gates for the vehicles.
And I think the assumption is that more from the southern portion will go to the northern, based on your definition, Mr. Kritko. Right, because there are dog parks on both sides. But for the other amenities, we assume that the southern portion would go north more than the north would go south.
And kind of a question I had on for the last folks, buses and, large fire apparatus. I'm looking at the southern side here. The north side looks like it's enough big enough turnarounds, I'm assuming. Kind of on the right side there and kind of at the bottom, enough room for large fire apparatus and buses to get in and turn around. I mean, I don't know how much, buses are going to be going into the gated area and what your process and procedures for that's going to be, but could you just address that?
Certainly.
Yeah, certainly. So
you state your
my name
name,
is
please?
Jared McKinnon with Kimley Horn. I'm a civil engineer. The project is going to comply with the International Fire Code, and more specifically Appendix D, which talks about the requirements for fire truck turnarounds. We do have hammerheads at some of the dead-end conditions. We do also have circulation around like the townhome area as well. So unlike the prior project, this actually does have a loop within it where you can circulate. So.
And to add on to that, Mr. Kritko, it's my understanding that a discussion's already been had with the school system, and the bus would not come in and loop all the way around the townhomes that are there. There would be a central location where they would come to, as well as on the northern district, like they do with other townhome and multifamily developments. The buses don't necessarily drive through the whole entire development. There are areas where they pick up and drop off the children.
But they would be coming in through the gated.
No, sir. My understanding is they would not. In conversations with the school board already.
Okay.
Anything else from council? Ms. Griffith?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak on behalf? Okay, anyone want to speak in opposition? Step forward, please.
Hello again. My name is Zachary Potter, here proxy with James Shepard. I don't want to repeat myself too much. Much of my gripes are the same with this one as the last one. We don't need more townhouses, and we don't need a bunch of what I'm assuming are rental residentials on top of what is essentially a mall, which will add 1,000 people to the roads, of which they're also planning on lowering the speed limit to, ultimately without proper accommodations, likely going to cause even more traffic problems in our city. And as for these single women apparently affording $400,000 homes, please point me their way, because I don't believe they exist. That's all.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak in opposition? At this time, I'm going to close the public hearing and ask council if they have any.
I just want my memory refreshed on where we've been with this piece of property. You know, I read the packet. I honestly don't recall all the details because it was 18 years ago. So I'd like a little bit of a refresh from staff to tell me what happened here.
And Brad and Mr. Sears,
Mm-hmm.
and Mr. Sears is certainly available to augment anything I may leave out, but the original zoning that you have now is a result of a settlement agreement sponsored by litigation because by Newnan Vista LLC, when they were denied once, then later they came back and achieved what they wanted, which was the 500 apartment units, which was called the Trees of Newnan. I think it's now called the Willows, something to that effect. As a result, there was a concept plan that was supposed to provide commercial on this whole piece, on both sides of what is now McIntosh Parkway. But I think as a part of the settlement agreement, Newnan Vista did contribute towards the construction of a portion of McIntosh Parkway. Flash forward, since 08, 09, 2010, the city has not received any proposals for any commercial development on the subject tract. And it wasn't until 2024, 2025 that we began this conversation of where we are today with this particular mixed-use rezoning petition.
Okay.
Basically, it was proposed as a mixed-use development 18 years ago, where the 500 units were allocated to the rear of the property, and the out parcels were going to be some form of a commercial use. That's what was actually the gist of the settlement agreement that occurred.
Okay.
I can barely remember that.
There's actually the 2008 concept plan.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
saw it, so I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay. I just wanted to get the process
Yep.
down. We denied it, they sued us, we end up here. And then 18 years later, they're back asking for something different than what they
Right.
sued over. So we're
And-
good.
and
I
think-
needed to get
Yeah,
that.
I think Mr. Sears originally had proposed, this was kind of an amendment to that original concept and rezoning that occurred back in 08.
Okay,
I know, we know you're different people. That was the point, just to make sure they're not Newnan Vista, they're a different
okay,
applicant.
gotcha.
I'd like to make a couple of comments. I do support staff on that can be used as properly zoned, and and actually, an example of that is the applicant is including 27,000 square feet of commercial on the site. So clearly, it supports commercial. And it looks really good. I love that site. If you were here with that mixed-use one slide, I'd be all for that. That's a gorgeous building. It looks really good. To me, this is three different tracks, three different developments. And like we've already talked about the McIntosh Parkway, you got to cross over that for the apartments. And then the Wilwatt, that's not just a driveway. That's a lot of people coming in and out that have nothing to do with your development. They're trying to get to their house, and they've been there a long time. So how do you got to look at how you get back and forth across that street. And I don't want to get into that for the moment, but I do feel like it can be used the way it is. I think we have enough apartments out there. We've got some that we've approved that haven't been built yet that are nearby. We've got some other new ones they're filling up. We've got some townhouses not far from there that we approved maybe a year or two ago that aren't built yet. I don't believe that just because land sits, it just should be whatever somebody wants it to be. I do believe that planning is important. I think that is a very good shopping area. We've got a new hotel on Ashley Boulevard right there. We've got new retail that just came online. We've got new office buildings that are on the bypass. So it's an active area. It's not drying up. It's not, commercial is never going to work. No, it's a very, in my opinion, a very viable commercial spot. And like I said, you've shown that with your drawing. So I do support the Planning Commission on what they voted. And I remember, Mr. Brady, I told you first day when I saw it, I said, I just don't see this going in right here at Ashley Park. And just because we have apartments nearby doesn't mean we need to put more on top of more. And I do think this settlement agreement, I do believe in keeping your promise. And this settlement agreement makes good sense. It said, hey, we want this to be mixed use, and you're going to put the apartments in the back, and then the commercial goes up front. And everybody agreed on that. Everybody went off and made their money selling and building the apartments. And So I think we need to hold to that. Otherwise, I don't think we would have agreed to that back then if we expected it to be apartments. So with that, I'm not in support of this, other than if you came back and you wanted to do the commercial, you wouldn't need our approval. I think it's already zoned for that one slide you've got. Any
I
other
would agree.
comments?
I would agree with Councilman. I think what I've really noticed in the last several weeks, quite frankly, is listening to more to the pulse of this of people that I represent, and I've really had a tough time with making a decision on this particular project because of the things that Jim had just expressed, and one day it's a yes, one day it's a no, just a kind of maybe, it's this. And then as I began to talk with, my group or people that I represent that voted for me and want me to represent them, I'm hearing some different things out there right now. And I would agree with the Planning Commission as what they said as far as, and with the apartments, I can say this personally, I'm disappointed, quite frankly, what sits on McIntosh Parkway at this particular time and the way that's been developed. And I really don't want to add any more to a development that would really, in my opinion, probably at this particular time would contribute to the disappointing look on, quite frankly, on McIntosh Parkway that's there now. So I think you kind of, my statement kind of speaks for itself, I guess.
Thank you. Anyone else? Is there a motion? Oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Wait, you're right. You're right. I even took a note. So let me back up one step. All right, we need a motion to accept the the closing hearing. The hearing was closed.
already
Yep.
done that.
We need a motion to accept the Planning Commission's report. All right. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Now, ready? Is there a motion?
Or to accept
Either one, yes, sir.
to the Planning Commission, is that what you need?
Oh, no, Planning Commission's done. We've
We
accepted the
accept
Planning
that, then
Commission's
we
report.
need a motion to deny.
We've got a motion to deny. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor of the denial, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. Motion carries 5-1. I had to do my math. All right, next on the agenda is a request from Melody Kaiser to host the Porch Fest on May 30th, 2025. Melody, you deserve a star for sitting through this long one.
Oh, thank you. I'm just impressed that you do it every time. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. My name is Melody Kaiser, and I am the founder of the Newnan Porch Fest, which was a free, family-friendly music festival on front porches in the historic College Temple District. To say that this year's Porch Fest exceeded our expectations would somehow still be an understatement. With our inaugural event on May 31st of this year, we hosted 48 bands and musicians with genres ranging from Southern gospel to bluegrass to rock and roll to funk to experimental jazz. We had over 100 arts and crafts vendors and had a live muralist painting in the streets. And thanks to the help of the Children Connect Museum, we built a robust children's section that featured kids bands from our local schools and vendors like Georgia Tech, who came with their award-winning display showing children how to make music using computers and STEM technology. And together, we raised $5,000 for the Newnan Coweta History Center. Since this was our first year holding the event, we were hoping for and prepared for a turnout of about 3,500 people. And from all of our counts and estimations, we hosted over 10,000 attendees between all of the venue locations and throughout the historic College Temple neighborhood. And due to the family-friendly, fun environment that we tried to create, and thanks to the Newnan Police Department, and honestly, a good bit of luck, we had no fights or disruptions this year. Undoubtedly, this incredible event turnout came with a few problems that we're planning to address this year in a more robust way, particularly concerning trash and restrooms for obvious reasons. And we're actively working with the Newnan Police Department and city officials to increase our public safety measures, especially when it comes to people trying to cross the streets, not at designated crosswalks. That was a major problem we had this year. We had no neighbor complaints after the event, and we haven't received any to date, even after we've gone door to door letting folks know what we're intending to do this year. We've also launched a post-event survey after May 31st, and we got 125 responses with an average star rating of 4.82 out of 5 stars. I couldn't be more proud of the grassroots event that we put together with only 3 local musicians as organizers and an amazing community around us. I'm coming before council tonight to ask that the streets of the historic College Temple District be closed on Saturday, May 30th, 2026, this year from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Closing the streets earlier will allow our vendors and musicians, the organizers, and the volunteers to load in more safely. We had a little bit of a problem with people showing up earlier than they were supposed to this year. And keeping them closed later will give us more time for a thorough cleanup and will support our finale concert, which we're hoping to have completely open to the public this year instead of in one of our city's venues. And all of the neighbors in the historic College Temple District have been notified of our plans and what we're hoping to do, and we haven't received any complaints or objections to the state. We hope to bring our community together once again next year to celebrate the many cultures that make Newnan special and to bring us together in a time when it feels like everything is trying to tear us apart. And we want to do that with the one universal language that everyone can understand, which is music. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Geiser, thank you very much. Any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Notified all the residents of College Temple neighborhood?
Yes, ma'am.
How long ago?
Like last week was when we finished. We've been going door to door and talking to everybody.
Okay.
We printed out some flyers and gave them the information that included a number to call and an email if they had any questions or concerns. And the only question that we've had is, can neighbors find parking? And we're able to accommodate that for them.
Okay.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to accept this request?
So moved.
Second. All right. Any discussion?
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Kaiser. Great event, by the way.
Thank you.
Do anyone like to make a motion to adjourn? You want to?
If I could.
Yes. Yes.
Before we do that, I would like to ask staff to potentially, we've had the trolley here for a couple of years. I would like to ask staff just to kind of look at that, come back to us with a report, like what's the ridership been, what's the costs, the O&M, because it's been a couple of years now. It's been a great service, but I just want to make sure it's actually worthy of our taxpayer dollars.
Tell you that staff would be excited to bring you some the thoughts and recommendations and numbers regarding the trolley.
I would appreciate that. Thank you. And
thank you.
With the council.
Yep. Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So, second.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.